Hoofs it home, and we mean hoofs it. He's a bit of a horse. 3-0 for Jays, and a triple for Lee. Royals counted one in the top of the fifth, but in the bottom, Joe Carter would reply in kind, courtesy of the long ball. His 5th home run of the season, and it's 4-1. Boy, Todd Stottlemyre's getting better and better with each outing. Nothing like a win or two for confidence. 8th inning, 2 out, runners at second and third. He blows Kirk Gibson away. Stottlemyre, a 4-hitter through 8. And he came back in the 9th, allowed a couple of hits. Dwayne Ward then came on. 1 run scored in a wild pitch, but Ward closed successfully for his league-leading 12th save. And the Jays beat the Royals tonight, 4-2 at the Skydome. Okay, meanwhile, how did the first-place Red Sox fare at Fenway? They headed into tonight's dip with the White Sox, led by their big man, Roger Clemens, at 7-0, or rather 6-0 prior to tonight. Now, they say the best way to beat him is to get to him early, and that's exactly what the Pale Hose did. They nicked him right away. Robin Ventura with a fly ball off the monster. The Rock is going to bypass the stop sign at third. He races home from first. Tim Raines giving the White Sox a 2-0 lead. Later, though, the lights went out when the area was hit by a power problem. And hey, when you think of wonderful, wonderful folks, who do you think of? The fans at Fenway, right? Meanwhile, at Yankee Stadium, Jose Canseco trying to restore his power, but oh, Ainsley Mullins robs him with a great grab. And that's when the trouble started. A fan behind home plate had been ribbing Jose about his date with Madonna in her apartment in Manhattan last week. Josie, you're making millions. You're dating a tramp. Get a real girl. Well, they threw the fan out, didn't get his name, but they tossed him out. Jose went back to the dugout and will be back later in the game to no avail. Let's check around the rest of the scores tonight from the American League. As you see, the Blue Jays with the win over Kansas City, 4-2. New York over Oakland, eventually tonight, 6-3. The final, Ainsley Mullins also hit a homer in that one. Red Sox relived the horror of '86. They were 1 strike from victory and lost. Matt Murillo hit a home run in the 9th to tie. Ron Karkovice a single in the 10th. That gave Chicago the win and denied Clemens his 7th straight win. California over Cleveland 9-5. Blue Jays and Boston now tied for the East lead, while the Tigers dropped 2 off the pace with that 8-1 loss tonight. Detroit going down to Texas. And after a horrible start, the Montreal Expos are starting to make their move, with 6 straight wins helping them to climb out of the NL East basement. They went into tonight 4 games, or rather a couple of games up on the Phillies, and they were under the late lights in Los Angeles. It all came crashing down, though, as Ramon Martinez pitched his 5th straight win, while Oil Can Boyd dropped to 1-4. Dodgers pounded Montreal 8-3. And here's the rest of the scores from around the NL. Atlanta over Chicago 5-3, and that keeps the Braves top the Dodgers by a game out in the East. Cincinnati, injury-riddled. They lost again tonight. St. Louis over them 1-0. As you can see, Montreal losers 8-3 to Los Angeles, while the Padres got by New York 5-2. Phillies pull into a tie for 5th with Chicago. They're still a game back of the Expos with the 3-2 win tonight in 11 over the Giants. The Phillies got one of the players injured in that car crash last week, back in uniform today. Darren Dalton worked out with the team. Driver of the car, though, Lenny Dykstra, has not been so lucky. His broken collarbone and ribs are going to keep him out of the lineup now for at least 2 months. Dykstra, as he promised last week, opened up with some of his thoughts on the accident for reporters today.
I don't remember anything of the wreck. I was told that I was out of the vehicle when a guy from the house approached us. And I was real dirty, so evidently I was thrown out of the car. So I can't really remember anything. I remember coming back to the car and seeing Lenny in the back seat, and we got out of the car. We were lucky to come out of this alive, and yes, this is a good opportunity to reach out to people because you are role models and say, hey, look what happened. We were lucky.
Back to the Red Sox for just a moment. It seems like Mike Marshall, who was unhappy enough in his role as a utility player that he refused to go into a game yesterday, was today offered his outright release from the club if he would forego the remainder of his $1.2 million contract. Well, even though Marshall's not noted for being a math whiz, he thought about that for, about 2 seconds and said no. And they must have known we wouldn't have hockey tonight. We had all sorts of weird baseball stories, this time from the Cleveland Indians camp. Outfielder Albert Bell suspended for a week by AL Pres Bobby Brown for intentionally beating a fan in the chest with a baseball. This after the fan had heckled Bell for his past problems with alcohol. Bell's excuse for the outburst was a momentary loss of his spirituality. But he's all better now, and he's going to appeal that. It's time for a break here. Coming up, Major Junior Hockey hands out the big awards tonight as Chicoutimi and the Celtics try and put a stranglehold on the Pistons in the NBA.
2:30 that afternoon was one of the good times.
Don't miss GM's really great spring breaks. We're waiting to give you the best price break we can. Just look us right in the eye and say, give me a really great break. And we will.
Wheaton Pontiac Buick GMC Nanaimo has a great package deal on 1991 Sunbird. Fix this four-door automatic with air conditioning, power steering, metallic paint, and much, much more. For the low price of $10,995, including freight. Or take the 9.9% financing. Great car. Great package. Great price. The 91 four-door Sunbird. Wheaton Pontiac Buick GMC Nanaimo.
Cup Final Series begins Wednesday in Pittsburgh, and Minnesota North Stars captain Bobby Smith will be there, wearing his uniform and not civvies as many feel he should be. Smith should be stocking up on lottery tickets tonight after the results of an NHL disciplinary committee revealed that he is in fact a very lucky man. It's almost hard to believe that League VP Brian O'Neill was looking at the same tape you're about to see. But today O'Neill decided against suspending or even fining Smith for his vicious cross-check on the Oilers' Martin Gelinas in Game 4 of their just completed series. Given that Gelina's helmet was off and he was on his knees, plus the fact the referee saw fit to eject Smith from the game, you would have expected further action from the league, but none is forthcoming. O'Neill said today that it was accidental, unintentional. And there you see it, Smith tripping over the crease. He didn't mean to do that. Well, the NHL's fledgling Ottawa Senators franchise is experiencing a lot of growing pains, mostly due to problems in getting the proper zoning for their new rink, the Palladium. The club has seen many positives in its brief existence, and when that arena is finally built, it'll be sold out ad infinitum with season ticket holders. Souvenir business is also brisk around the nation's capital. And today, a chunk of the financial woes were taken care of when Paul Anka decided to invest some of the bazillions he's made in 30 years of showbiz back into the team representing his hometown.
Paul, it's Jim, and Bruce is here with me, and we welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
It was a conference call Ottawa Senators officials have been looking forward to for more than a month. Paul Anka, a multi-millionaire who has made his fortune in the entertainment field, has decided to make his first venture into the world of professional sports with the Senators.
And, I want to stress that I'm just a player in this, player part of a team. I think that this team can deliver to Ottawa what it's never had before in the 90s. I look forward to that.
The courtship between the hockey club and Anka began in April. His personal financial advisor visited Ottawa 2 weeks ago to go over the Senators' proposal. After a few weeks of fine-tuning, the deal was finalized this morning. Details of the arrangements were not made public, but Anka has invested in the team and in the Palladium, the future home of the team. But more importantly, Anka's investment will allow the team to make its June payment of $22.5 million to the NHL due next month. And it would also help the club in attracting other investors, including one which was waiting for the Anka deal to go through.
And at one time even made a statement, if it's good enough for Paul, it'll probably be good enough for me.
Anybody we know?
No.
An American or Canadian?
No, he's American.
I guess, is Wayne Newton. And a night off at the Memorial, no, not really. A night off at the Memorial Cup Junior Hockey Tournament in Chicoutimi. That gave the gathered a chance to hand out major junior hockey's big awards. No surprise, in the most valuable player category, Eric Lindros of the Oshawa Generals took home the top award, as well as the top pro prospect and plus-minus winner. Granby's Philippe Boucher named the best rookie, Felix Pavin of Chicoutimi the top goalie, and Patrice Brisbois of Drummondville the top defenseman. So 3 of the top 4 awards going to Quebec junior players. The most gentlemanly award, Spokane's Pat Falloon, and Falloon, as you know, is expected to go in the top 5 during June's draft. He may be joined in the upper echelons by teammate Ray Whitney. And although Falloon often gets most of the Chiefs' press, Whitney has become the team's on-ice spark plug.
Big things come in small packages. So goes the old saying. And by pro hockey standards, Ray Whitney of the Spokane Chiefs is a small package. His 5'9", 160-pound build doesn't leave NHL scouts drooling. But the scouts are taking a second look, because in the hockey business, Whitney's assets are now greater than his debits.
Well, I think the #1 quality he has is quickness. He has quickness with the puck, and he has quickness in reading his angles offensively. If he has a guy beat, he reads that and reads the game. He can see the game a little bit ahead of some other people. He sees what's going to happen and where the puck is going to go, and he reads the play and puts himself in good position offensively, so that's probably his best trait.
He always could score. He's brought now to the rink his leadership. He's brought his consistency, great special teams play, not only power play, but penalty killing. So that means he's a good defensive player. He knows how to play both ends of the ice.
His exploits and NHL ambitions lead to comparisons to a former WHL scoring champ who overcame the theory the small player can't make it in the NHL.
You know, there's nothing I can do to change my size. You know, I'm not going to get too much bigger if I do get bigger at all. So I just thought to myself, you know, I'm going to have to live with this and go out and prove to people that I can't play at this size. And
with personal success has come team success for Whitney and the Chiefs. After 2 sub-500 seasons, Spokane has won its first ever WHL championship. But winning is nothing new for Whitney, who was a stick boy for the Edmonton Oilers a few years ago. And when he scored the overtime game winner in Game 3 of the WHL championship, he was only emulating the heroics of a good friend a few nights earlier.
Craig McTavish. Well, no doubt about it, the Boston Celtics erased a huge mental block last Saturday when they won their very first game at the Palace in Auburn Hills, thumping the Detroit Pistons by 32. Tonight, the Mighty Green trying to take a 3-1 series lead in their NBA Eastern Semi. Isaiah not playing for the Pistons tonight. He's still slowed by that ankle injury. Dressed but not playing. Turns out it was one of those rare nights where they didn't need him. They had Joe Dumars. He stepped in to lead the floor show with 23. There he sets up Mark Aguirre for the 2. Generous bank off the glass. Things going the Pistons' way early. Aguirre top scorer tonight with 34. Celtics better shooters tonight. They went 50% to 44. Reggie Lewis contributing positively to that stat. But in the end, it was the Pistons winning Game 4, 104-97, and they even up that Eastern Semi at 2 games apiece, heading back to Boston for Game 5. Tomorrow night, Lakers, Blazers, and Bulls can wrap up the other second-round series with wins on home court on Tuesday. And that's it for sports tonight. We'll see you back tomorrow night. Allison?
Thanks, Terry. We'll take a break. When we return, graffiti of the pedestrian kind.
Out of respect and admiration for the civil engineers of the world who carved these exhilarating paths from the face of the earth, the engineers at Honda present an object to truly enjoy the fruits of their labor.
When you're washing your car in the midsummer's heat, do you dump the dirty water down the drain on the street? Once the water goes down, you see the path it will seek only goes a little way, then puts it straight in the creek. We should think of all the fish that are going to be hurt by all the chemicals that they can't even see. So it isn't very smart ecologically, and it doesn't make sense to me. So if they painted a fish by the mouth of each drain, would it help to get the message running through our brain? When you looked at the fish, you'd remember the case. For chemicals and other junk, this isn't the place. Thing you gotta know is that it's up to you to take what you have learned today and make it what you do. So remember what you've heard, though the words are nothing new. The fish deserve a long life, too.
every day. There's nothing else like white spot. That tastes so good it makes you feel kind of special inside.
Breakfast at the spot?
Sounds terrific.
Nothing else tastes like white spot.
A Saanich alderman is not pleased about a proposed youth remand center planned for the Glendale area. The facility would house up to 42 youths while they await trial. It would cost $16 million. Alderman Ian Cass would sooner see that money going to the deserving rather than those who break the law. Robin Adair has this story.
At least one Saanich alderman wants to slam the door on crime.
I do believe that we've gone too far in personal freedoms. I believe that you can't have freedom effectively without discipline, and to suggest you can have one without the other just means to say you lose the bounds of society altogether.
A $30 million price tag for Greater Victoria police operations brought Cass to council with a law and order platform. He's already turning heads. First, he tried to stop exotic dancing in Saanich and failed. Now he wants to see the Municipal Act altered to end 24-hour convenience stores and put a late-night curfew on youngsters.
We need an amendment to the Municipal Act to give the council the power to authorize and legislate for store opening hours.
Downtowns are always attractive. Urban cities and urban communities are attractive, and you're going to have that. You're going to have that sort of thing happen with young people. I think we need to look at how we keep people away from that, and what kind of activities can be open later for them that will be more attractive and just hang around a convenience store.
So how do the people of Saanich feel about law and order and a curfew in general? Well, it depends on who you speak to, and certainly it's interesting to compare notes.
All they're going to be doing now is chasing people around after 11 o'clock. They're not ever going to get anybody in past, like, before 11.
To breaking in and to killing and all these things.
They don't make much profit too, you know, actually.
So it's not worth it to keep it around the whole night, you know.
They're committing robberies regardless whether there's a convenience store open or not. I mean, that's my opinion.
People will still get together after 11 o'clock. Putting a curfew on kids or teenagers in Saanich just make the kids more rebellious.
The times have changed so much. I mean, I grew up when everywhere closed down early, you know, and yet I've had to change with the times and watch my own family grown up with their children, and I can appreciate the convenience stores, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that it's up to the parents to keep more control of the kids. I think that the problem stems more from there, not from the fact that they have somewhere to hang out.
Many of his views may not be fashionable, but at the very least, Ian Cass stirs up the pot.
The decision by Victoria City Hall to remove dozens of painted crosswalks on city streets has not been a popular one, and at least one disgruntled Victorian has done something about it. Sometime overnight, a person or persons unknown brought their own paint and brush and replaced the crosswalk city crews removed months ago from the intersection at Hillside Avenue and Pryor Street. The job was not professional by any means, and it apparently hasn't made it any easier for people to get across the street. In any event, while the painted crosswalk may have scored a political point for the artist, it won't be a lasting victory. Victoria's Public Works Department says it will be out soon to remove the paint and return the intersection to its unmarked splendor. And again, tonight's top story, BC's New Democrats want a legislative committee to review the sale of Fantasy Gardens. NDP leader Mike Harcourt wants to know when details of the sale became known to Cabinet. And that's all for tonight. Have a nice Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow night.